Alright guys, welcome to another tutorial, and actually this is my second time recording this because I hit produce video and for some reason my computer didn't want to produce my video. So yeah, I think I'm going to do this a second time. So basically I coded a little bit while I was gone. What I did was I pretty much checked for number of rows. If it was equal to 0, then that pretty much means that we're on the current day, so there's basically no data after today that we can analyze yet. And also if we get something aside from 1 and 0, then I just want to output you have a little error. Again, we shouldn't see any of this code. It's just, if something weird happens, just a little indicator to say, hey Bucky, you messed up. And also in my result right here, if something was wrong with my query, I just had a little other error message that popped up, unable to select our table for some reason. So that's what I did while I was gone. I didn't feel like typing it again because, like I said, my freaking computer's messing up. So now what we want to do, now that we have all the data collected, we can go ahead and say, okay, we want to figure out the percentage of days the stock went up, down, and we also want to see how much did it go up by. So remember in my little example I said if it went up 8 out of 10 days, then we want to output to the user and when it goes up 80% of the time. And of course that would mean it went down 20% of the time. They would need that information as well. Now another thing I want to do is I want to factor the average of change, because even though the stock may go up 8 out of 10 times, if it only goes up like 0.5%, you may not want to buy it. However, if the stock goes down 2 times, or excuse me, 20%, but it goes down 30% on average, then that may be a very, something you may want to factor into your decision whenever you're buying stock. So it's not only the frequency of change, but it's the average change as well. So let me go ahead and factor in all those things. So the very first thing I'm going to do is make a variable called next day increase. Wow, I really messed that up. Percent. Hopefully I typed that right. And what this is going to be is basically the percentage of days it went up. In my example, 80%. So the formula for this is, let me see if I'm just going to go ahead and copy this so I don't. Next day increase, which was pretty much the number or the sum of days that we calculated, over the total. Now the total is all the days, whether it went up, down, or no change at all. So whenever we do this, it's going to be, like in my example, 8 out of 10, which is going to give you 0.8. So in order to get a proper percentage, you have to times this or multiply it by 100. So now I'm going to do the same thing for decrease. You guys probably could have guessed that. Next day decrease percent, and this would be next day decrease over total times. So basically in my example it would be like 80 for this and 20. So now what I want to do is I want to figure out how much of a change on average whenever it goes up and how much of an average change when it goes down. So the very first thing I want to do is make a variable called average increase percent, and I'm just going to go ahead and set this equal to the sum of increases. And remember up here I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep track of the total of all of the increases, and that's why I was doing this, because I wanted to use that later on, over next day increases. So next day increases. So we don't want to put this over all of the days. We only want to have the sum of all of the times it went up over the total amount of days it went up. We don't want it over all of the days because our data would be skewed. So we actually want to take that plus plus out of there because that doesn't make sense whatsoever. And now we want to do this exact same thing for the decrease. So this would be something like, I don't know, hopefully this is a high number because hopefully this is like 80%, because that would mean it went up, or this is a really strong indicator, and not only is it likely to go up, but it's likely to go up by a large amount. So now we just need to do this for, make a variable called average decrease percent, and that would be sum of decreases over next day decrease. Sum of decreases over next day decrease. And now that we have all that taken care of, we pretty much have everything that yeah, everything that we need. So in the next video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this and I'm going to be inserting all of our results into a table, because we can just take this script and, echo it out on, just like an HTML file or something. But what I want to do is I actually want to store this data in the table, because we're going to be looping through, let's say, I don't know, 50 or 100 different companies. And then whenever we store it in a MySQL table, we can sort, maybe we want to sort by next day increase percent or average increase percent. And if we just echo it all in a HTML file, then it may be kind of hard to do. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next tutorial. And actually, if I have time, yeah, I think I'll do this right now. I'll make a function that calls insert into result table, and this is going to take, oh man, I have to think how many parameters now. It's going to take a whole bunch of parameters, the ticker, and okay, I'm going to have to think about this, gather my thoughts, and I'll be back in the next tutorial. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you then.